Hi everyone, welcome to the visual guide for the Fractal Continuum Hard. This is one of 2 new dungeons made available by patch 4.2 in Final Fantasy XIV, Rise of a New Sun. You'll find yourself in a familiar area, taking a few minotaurs out of your life to get through it. My name is Magitek and I'll be your dungeon guide. The first section has a number of familiar trash mobs with the usual abilities. If you pull everything all at once, you may notice it can get a little hectic trying to dodge everything, but I believe in you. The first boss is the Mother Bit. Electrochemical transfer will revive these Magitek bits, and they will move around the platform in specific patterns before throwing out long column AoEs. They'll also target the main tank with a number of attacks, so be ready with shields and heals. ALLAGAN gravity will target the ground under a random player. Move out of the telegraph as necessary. Once the gravity puddle is down, make sure to stay away from it as it will pull in any nearby players, dealing damage and afflicting them with debuffs. The bits can also form in a straight line and begin to cast Citadel Buster. Players will have a very short time to move behind the line of bits before this line AoE forms. Stepping into this line will knock back and debuff players. A Citadel Buster deals a high to lethal amount of damage, so be sure to avoid this as necessary. These mechanics will repeat until the Mother Bit is down. The next area may seem a little familiar to you, but the trash mobs aren't really that much more challenging. The second boss is the Ultima Warrior. You'll notice that there are 3 statues of the primal Zervan, Sophia, and Sephiroth around the room. AETHEROPLASM is a heavy-hitting tank buster. Get ready with cooldowns and heals. Citadel Buster will blast in the direction of a random player. If you notice the boss turning towards you, move out of the way. CERULEUM Vent is an AoE blast that will also knock back players. Eventually, the boss will cast Primordial Aether and channel energy from one of the primal statues. Channeling Zervan will place either an infinite fire or infinite ice debuff on a player. Moments after, a fire and ice marker will appear on the platform. Players will need to stand in their respective elements to avoid damage. Shortly after, he'll cast Mass AetherPlasm, damage that must be shared among the group. Stack up before the blast goes off to avoid death. Channeling Sephiroth will mark up players with these green markers. These markers will eventually drop down green orbs that will slowly grow over time. Players will need to eventually stack up for another Mass AetherPlasm, so be careful not to box yourself in. Channeling Sophia will mark up players with black or white markers. Players will have to pair up and stack together with those of opposite marker colors, or they'll take damage and get afflicted with debuffs. At this point, the mechanics will repeat until the boss is down. In this section, if you are within line of sight of these angry jailed ads, they will attempt to break free and attack you. Some will break out immediately, but the ones that struggle to burst through can be avoided by running away. The last boss is the Ultima Beast. When he raises his arm all menacingly, he'll cast Death Spin, hitting anyone in melee range. When he stands up, players will want to move directly into his hitbox to avoid the blast of Aether Vent. Flare Star will bring down a proximity-based damage blast that persists as a puddle. Players will need to move away to reduce damage while also spreading apart to avoid overlap of these black ALLAGAN gravity markers. Light Pillar will create an AoE attack in the center that will gradually move out from the center. Players will need to dodge in between these attacks as they grow to avoid excess damage. Born Beasts will give the boss a damage up buff. DEMI Ultima will do group-wide damage. Be ready with those shields and heals. ALLAGAN Flare will target the tank, and players should move away to reduce damage. At this point, the mechanics will repeat until the boss reaches 5% and begins to cast a slow DEMI Ultima ENRAGE. You'll need to destroy the boss before this cast goes off, or you will die. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. Up next, we'll head into the Jade Stoa. As always, thanks for watching. Till next time.